Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Paige, this is Seeking Alexandria, and if you're looking at me and you're like, girl, what is happening on your eyelids? I will go ahead and I will link it right up here for you. We are currently filming the Beige and Sylvia Gani collab, and yeah, this palette is just kind of all over my lids right now. Looking stunning, looking fresh, looking all kinds of purpley, smoky sunset cuteness. So I did take a little break from that video, which you know if you watched it, and it's time for a foundation review. Why? Because we love foundation reviews. Guys, can't stop, won't stop. I actually last week did a foundation review of the new, it was the Laura Mercier foundation. Yes, the Laura Mercier Flawless Lumiere Radiance Perfecting Foundation, which I will link right up here. So I did review that one last week, and this week I was like, girl, we have a drugstore option. We have something new to Ulta. We have something we need to look at. So I picked up the L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour wear foundation. It says that it is $14.99. I'm reading this off of the Ulta website. $14.99, released in 30 colors. It looks like the shade range is actually pretty decent. And let's see what it says here in the little about section. It says, be unstoppable. Period. Just be unstoppable. Got it. Check. Introducing L'Oreal's breakthrough longwear foundation with breathable skin technology. Infallible Fresh Wear 24-hour foundation provides medium to full buildable coverage that lasts all day and allows the skin to breathe. The formula's 3 oil absorbers resist sweat, water, and transfer. The ultra-thin liquid goes on smoothly to give a fresh, healthy-looking complexion that lasts. And it looks like that is about it. It also has 8 5-star reviews at this point. I am not looking at them. That is just what it says. And then I think that's everything. You get 1 fluid ounce. And guys, for $14.99, which for the purposes of my sanity, we're going to say $15, I grabbed the shade 400, 405, and 410, which go from top to bottom on my hand. And I have to be honest, the formulation of these, like they said, super, super, super liquidy. I was really thrown off by the consistency. And then they're like, oh, but it's breathable, but it's buildable. And I'm just like, okay, we need to stop. I don't need to hear all these words. I need to just put it on my face, because here's the situation. For me, typically what I've experienced when it's like a thinner formula is that unless it is a straight to full coverage moment, I have a difficult time. Example being the Catrice HD Liquid Full Coverage. I talk about this all the time. I've been wearing it so much lately, and it was actually in my November favorites, which I will link up here. But this is a very thin, liquidy consistency, but it builds immediately to full coverage. So I love it, and that consistency doesn't become an issue. It doesn't settle weird. It doesn't look watered down on my skin. And when it has a very thin consistency, at least on my skin, I feel like sometimes foundations can look a little bit too watered down. And so I'm very intrigued to kind of go in with this today, see if that's the case. Now, I do have 2 different ways of applying it. Of course, I have my Real Techniques Beauty Blender, Beauty Sponge here. This is the giant one, the one that's like the size of your face. You can use whatever one works for you. I just had this one handy. And so I went ahead, I washed it, and this is what we will be applying. I also have a brush if I want to mix it up if it's not looking good. Sometimes I'll do it with both. Either way, we will check and see what the situation is. Also, primer. I've already went ahead and primed and prepped my skin. This is something I have been doing before foundation in general lately. I have been putting it on and really giving it like even 10 to 20 to 30 minutes to just settle into my skin, because I love that feeling. I just think everything sits better when everything has just had a moment. The primer warms up to my skin and it just works so much better. So went ahead, did that. Now we're going to dive into what's on here. This side, we have Tatcha. This side, we went in with an oldie but a goodie, the Peter Thomas Roth Skin to Die For. I used to, seriously, this was my ride or die. This is like my second or third one of this like product. I've bought it so many times. It is such a beautiful primer. Loved it when I had oily skin, and I've used it since. It's still beautiful. I love it. I love the way that it sits on the skin. So we went with 2 that are more smoothing, more pore filling, but a little different. I just wanted to mix it up a little bit, but I've been using the Tatcha so much lately that I'm like, I kind of have to test it with the Tatcha, because hello, testing with Tatcha is what we do. Now, as far as color, I think that this one, which is 400, I think that's just a little bit too light, but I think if I mix in a just tiny little dabble of 405, I think that might be my best bet. Or should I just do 405 by itself? Okay, so this is 405. Let's see here. Actually, I think 405 might just be it, like by itself. What we're going to do, I'm going to do 405, and then we'll kind of go from there. Hello, need a wipe. Hello? as I was saying, we're going to grab the shade 405 Porcelain. I'm going to throw, I'm thinking 1, 2, let's go 3 pumps onto the back of my hand. Super, super liquidy. So let's like pull this up a little. And I'm going to start off with the blending sponge, which is my favorite. And this is giant, so it just like covers half my face. And we're going to scoop this up and we're just going to blend it out. Yeah, that color is pretty much me. Okay. We're going to grab the rest of it here just so it's not running all over. And we gonna press. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. The coverage, not bad. Sitting on the skin, not bad. Yeah, I would say that that's definitely a medium coverage. Like, that's one go over. I don't hate that, actually. Okay. I'm the only one that like somehow always manages to like almost forget to put foundation on my forehead. I like do my cheeks and I'm like, what looks weird? Oh, the fact that my foundation, there's none on my forehead. Great. Okay. Glad we had this talk page. I like the medium coverage that we have going on right now. I'm going to grab a little bit more of it. Like I'm thinking one pump on the back of my hand, scoop it up here with this beauty sponge, and I'm going to just run it over this area right here mainly, which is where I have more like, oh my God, guys, that scared the living bejesus out of me. But I just went ahead and I worked that little last drop, and I feel like the coverage is still okay. It's not like, it didn't build up to super full coverage. I can still see some, like a little bit of my acne poking through. Could I keep pressing it and like build and build? Probably. Will I? No, because as you guys know, I love the look of like less foundation the better. I feel like it has a lot less chance of like getting cakey and nasty on my skin. So I tend to go with less whenever possible. Now we are going to grab this brand new foundation brush. This is actually the one that was in the James Charles Morphe collection. This is the Morphe M439 brush, and we're going to try it with a brush because I'm like, okay, decent coverage. Is it going to give me more coverage? Is it going to look stipply? Who knows? Typically 1, 2, I'm just going to take, I'm starting with 2 on this side because I can't pick up as much with a brush as I can with that sponge. But typically on my skin, brushes are not the best. They usually leave me looking a little textured and just a little bit like overall. So I'm a little bit curious to see how this works. And either way, I usually run over it with a beauty blender anyways. So, you know, just to be like full disclosure, I don't typically go with a brush because I feel like it really helps me look good and smooth and fresh to use my beauty blender. So that's what I use. Okay, so guys, like truth tea here. Don't like it any better with a brush. I feel like the texture isn't awful, but it doesn't sit as nicely into the skin, which I think that at this point for my skin, that's just like an obvious duh moment. Nothing will ever look as good on my skin as a beauty blender pressing it into all my pores and all my uneven texture. Like, let's just be real. So I'm grabbing about 1.5 pumps here, and I'm gonna go ahead, take that back on my good old beauty sponge, and we are gonna bop that into this side, not only to build up that coverage, but also to go in and just even everything out, make all of those little stipply marks go away. And I'm sorry, but does this like feel therapeutic to anybody else? Like when you're just applying your foundation with your beauty sponge, that feeling of like, because I wash my beauty sponge every single time before I use it. I know, excessive, but I can't not. And I love that feeling of like fresh, cold, perfect, beautiful beauty blender, like on my skin, clean. It feels relaxing, refreshing. It feels like a drink of water. I don't know. I just, oh my God, like I'm obsessed with it. Okay guys, I'm thinking this is where we're at so far. Everything is looking pretty good, pretty covered. It's time to add some concealer, and we're gonna go in here with my Tarte Shape Tape in Porcelain Beige, and we are going to add this to the underside of the eyes and pull it out here. Not a ton of concealer because I'm actually getting decent coverage from this foundation. It was definitely buildable to what I would say is like a light full coverage, not like super full coverage, but a light full coverage. You know, we're not talking like Catrice or Dermacol or anything like that, but it definitely built up to what I would say is a decent amount. But with that being said, I don't have a ton of acne right now. So if you do have a lot of acne and red spots, that's something when I had a lot of like acne and discoloration, way worse than I have now. I used to get so frustrated when people would be like, oh, it's barely covering my acne. And I would be like, okay, well, if it's not covering your acne, it's not going to cover mine. So I always like to throw that out there. Right now, my skin isn't horrible, but I do have some pretty red spots and it's covering those nicely. So just, you know, keep that in mind, like your coverage, what you would need versus what I need, because a lot of people have way nicer skin than I have and it doesn't have texture, and so it's just going to vary based on your actual skin type, what comes through, what doesn't, how pigmented like those areas of your face are, that kind of thing. So yeah, I like this so far though. It looks pretty good. We're just gonna go ahead and bop all that in with a beauty blender real quick. And you guys know, like, I don't go in with very much concealer in this area. I mainly use it just to color correct and make sure that like everything as far as the color of my skin, my shirt, my chest, I try to use it to be like as cohesive as possible. But today I'm wearing a black hoodie, so like, or a black sweater, so I don't care nearly as much. I just care enough to like make everything consistent. Plus I feel like this is just a good way for me to do my reviews. Put concealer all over, see what sticks. I love it. So true story, I'm loving the mixture of the Tarte Shape Tape with that foundation. Oh girl, we looking good. You guys, also, side note, foundation on the nose looking so nice, like settling into the pores beautifully. Like, let me tell you, okay, the pores on my nose, guys, they don't mess around. They are playing for blood. They are playing for pink slips. Like, they play to win, and they are not winning right now. That foundation is looking good. It is almost completely dried down, so if you have dry skin, I don't know that you would have to set this, which is very nice and definitely good to know, because as my skin has started to change, I still set my face, but I have to be very careful how much I set with and what I use and that sort of thing. So this is feeling very nice so far. Like, settling down, still transferring, so I'm not sure if you have dry skin if you would have to set it for that factor or not, but it is drying down nicely. It's not dewy. It's a very, like, what I would consider a naturally matte finish. It doesn't look over mattified. It doesn't look like I've powdered my face a shit ton, but it still looks very nice and veiled with like a mattified effect. So I'm liking that. And that might be why it mixed so nicely with that Tarte concealer too, because the Tarte concealer can pull a little bit matte. So everything's just mixing really, really nicely. Dang, girl, like, I'm sorry. Who are you, porcelain goddess? I don't know. The pasty queen of the north. That's who I am. What you can do about it? So now I'm going to move on and set my under eye. I'm going to use this Morphe M173 brush here, and this is my Revlon Colorstay in 880 pressed translucent powder. I've been using this a ton. It was also in my favorites video. And before I ever go in with any powder, I like to have powder on the brush to be ready, because girl, my under eyes crease so fast. I always go in with my finger. I re-pat it out, or you can use your beauty blender, whatever works for you. Because my eyes literally crease, like if I blink, they're creased. It's just the situation. When you have so much luggage under your eyes that you have to, you know, pay that extra $50 storage fee on the plane, that's what we're working with. And so, gotta always just be mindful, pat it out, never set a crease, because it'll be there for the rest of your life. So don't do that. Okay, it'll only be there till you take your makeup off. I'm dramatic, but still. And now, you guessed it, we're going to grab a little powder puff here, and we're going to go into our Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Pressed Powder. This is in the shade 100, and I'm going to be very careful with this not to over mattify, because I definitely think this would be a foundation that you could overdo it with the powder pretty quickly if you have normal to oily or dry skin. So I'm just going to take that powder and work it on to my beauty sponge. What is this? No, my pressed puff, my god, you guys, I'm so tired. And we're just going to really work that into there, because I don't want to get too much in one spot. We're going to give her a flick, and then be ready, because it's time. Where's my mirror? Hello? Where's my mirror? Oh, I found it. Why wouldn't I have set it on the floor? I don't know, logical. So now we're just going to take, and we're going to pop it right onto the skin in a nice thin layer. Very, very thin. Oh, I didn't set the Hulk. Go back. Reverse. We're going to grab that same brush and then this Maybelline Fit Me powder. We're going to set the Hulk real quick, because if you're new here, this is the Hulk. He gets very upset. We have to pat him out with a beauty blender, and then we set him quickly. I can't believe I forgot. Oh my gosh. Because if I set him like I set the rest of my face, girl, we will have problems. Oh, girl. Okay, we are looking pretty good, pretty matte, pretty flat, not cute. I'm going to go ahead off of camera, finish up the rest of my face, and then let it sit for a second, and then I will be right back. I'm going to give you guys a close-up. We're going to see how it's looking, get some thoughts, but girl, we got to finish up this face, so I will be right back. Okay guys, so I went ahead, I got the rest of my face on, I finished out the other video, and I've been sitting here in this foundation for probably about an hour, half hour to an hour now, and here's what I'm kind of thinking. I like it for the most part. Like, it's not shooting, hitting the moon, 10 out of 10. Right now, we're probably sitting at like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. There's certain aspects I love. The coverage, I love the matte finish. I love those types of things. I'm not loving the way that it's kind of gathering on the sides of my nose. That's not super cute. I'm also noticing that like all the wrinkles and all the texture on my forehead, pretty emphasized. Same thing in like the cheekle region right through here. There's not really an area that's looking super smooth, which is a little bit concerning, especially when I went ahead and I did set my face the same way I always do, which is my Urban Decay setting spray or my Morphe or whatever. But today I used Urban Decay, and then I did go in with a couple shots of the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. I love that stuff. It always is what helps like refine and calm everything down. So I'm not loving the texture of my skin at the moment, but there are some times when I go in with foundations that I do have to give it like, you know, an hour or two to really press down into the skin. So I'm hopeful. I'm thinking things will improve. I'm hoping they will improve, but I will go ahead and I'm going to stop back on at the end of the day. We will do obviously a wear test of this, see if we like it, see if we don't. But so far, it's not the worst. It's just not my favorite. So we're going to see, we're going to give the devil its due, and I will check back in here in a little bit. Okay, you guys, it is the end of the day. This foundation has been on forever, and I apologize, but I have to whisper because everyone here is sleeping, including the dogs and the cats, and it's really difficult to get them to all settle down lately. So it is very late in my world. This foundation has been on for like 11 or 12 hours, and overall thoughts are overwhelmingly positive. Like I'm pleasantly surprised. So I did just go ahead and take a good little look at my face without my mouth moving. That way you guys could really see the foundation up close and how it's setting after all this time. Now I'm going to go ahead and throw that up right now just so you guys can see it. But overall, this foundation wore so freaking well, you guys. I do see a lot of oil on my nose, and that didn't start until probably hour 5 or so, which is pretty impressive for the oil I have on my nose. But other than that, there is little to no breakage anywhere. Everything over the planes of my face still look very nice and smooth. My bronzer, blush, and highlight look very, very nice. The Hulk did not crease, which, you guys, if you are new here, the Hulk up here, remember the thing that I had to pat repeatedly with powder? That creases within 6 hours religiously. Like there's very few foundations that do not get that to crease. I am so impressed with the movability and the wearability of this foundation. My only one critique that really bothers me is how emphasized all of my texture looks, which I'm sure you saw that in the close-up. Very orange peel, very dimply looking all through here. So if I could fix one thing, that would be it. And for those of you, again, that are new here, my one go-to fix for smoothing out facial texture is usually adding in some Dior foundation. My favorite to add in is the regular Dior. If not that, then the Dior Extra Coverage or Forever Coverage or whatever. But either one of those is very, very beautiful on the skin, and it usually gives like a very nice smoothing porcelain look to my skin. So that's the only critique at this moment that I have. And if I went with the one that had extra coverage, the Dior Forever Undercover, if I went with that one, it might be even better because then I wouldn't need to add as much of this foundation because that even has a little more coverage. So there's definitely some room for wear in there, but other than that, I agree with literally everything that they said. This is a very breathable, very mobile foundation on the skin. I didn't notice it getting like hung up or dry or patchy or even breakage, which you guys know, for me, breakage around here, right here, and on my chin, like that is always all broken by the end of the day. Religiously, no breakage, which is crazy awesome. So it was very breathable, very movable. I loved that. The coverage was buildable, like medium to full coverage, so I don't disagree. It wasn't buildable to 100% full coverage, to 100% full coverage, but I do like the level I was able to get. It looked like a very natural matte moment, so that I really liked. And it also says on here that this is up to 24-hour wear, and you guys, at this point, it's been on for, I mean, only like what, 10 or 12 hours, but this is wearing so beautifully. I would definitely blot my nose and probably like blot off the rest of my face, but other than that, like this would still be a good to go foundation, and I think it looks really, really nice. Now, as far as when I first put it on, I only had one critique, and I did feel like I looked a little bit powdery. So the only thing I think I would caution with this foundation is to go as light on the powder as you are able to for your skin type and so on and so forth. Because after I got done powdering and added everything, and it had been like 2 hours, I still felt like I looked a little powdery and a little bit too matte, like especially in this region. So I do think this is one of those slightly finicky foundations where you're really going to watch out for that powder, how much you put on, how you apply it. And again, definitely tailor it for your skin type. But overall, I'm overwhelmingly impressed with the wearability. Like when you guys look at that up close, I just looked at my face up close for the first time in probably 5 hours, and I can't believe how good it still looks. Like I'm just now starting to get slight breakage through here, like very little here and a tiny bit here. Like that is insane to me for how long this has been on my face. So I will definitely be trying this foundation again. I'm going to start mixing it with some of my Dior's because I love the mobility of this on my skin. The only other thing I wanted to mention that I just thought of was I actually ended up with it on my sweatshirt. They said that this was a transfer resistant, and I think that that is accurate for up to maybe the 5 or 6 hour mark, at least for me as an oily person, because after that I actually kind of like fell asleep and I like my head hit the shoulder. You know, when you fall asleep with your head kinked at like a 45 and you wake up and you're like, oh my God, am I 76 years old? I fell asleep like that for like 20 minutes and it was the worst mistake of my life. And then when I woke up, I had a nice blob of foundation here. So there was like that moment, but then at the same time, I also had my hand doing one of these for like a solid 45 minutes. And nothing, like it didn't move. And normally on my skin, if I do this, or I like repetitively touch one area, I do have it slough off very easily. And this still, to the touch, isn't coming off. Like there's no residue. It's a very, very well seated foundation on my face. Like yeah, I really like this. Okay guys, so I wanted to jump in here, hold on, and before you finish out the rest of the video and we get into like the last little moments, I just wanted to throw this out there. So I've been wearing this foundation mixed with other foundations for the past week, and I have to be honest, I am completely obsessed. Right now I am wearing it mixed with my Dior Forever Undercover, and it is perfect. Like it's lasting so well, and it's definitely doing a lot better over the texture. Right now I am actually getting blasted with sunlight, so normally that would like emphasize, and these look so nice and delicate and refined, number one. Number two, it's doing a beautiful job at lasting throughout the day. I wore it yesterday and I had a chiropractor appointment, so I was laying on my face and it looked so nice. Even after 12 hours, it looked so smooth, so great. And right now I have been wearing this foundation for I think about 8 hours at this point, and it still looks perfect, and everything is like not creasing. It doesn't wear harsh at all. It barely breaks up at all, even after 10 hours around the mouth, which is amazing. The only thing that looks funny right here, I might have had a piece of fried chicken for lunch, so sorry. But I just wanted to throw this out here for you guys. That way it's kind of like an update all in one, that I am loving this. It does look really, really nice on its own. If you don't need a ton of coverage or you don't have a lot of like redness to cover, I think you can wear it by itself. It's really nice. The coverage is very nice. I'd say buildable to a high medium to full coverage, which is really good. The wearability, the flexibility, breathability, all of those, very, very nice. I like mixing it again just because I feel like my texture is a tiny, tiny bit emphasized if I don't. But other than that, I am loving this foundation. So anyways, just want to throw that in here and go finish the video. Don't X out, go finish. Anyways, you guys, those are my thoughts. I really hope that this was helpful for you. Let me know down below if there's something that you're always wanting me to check out, or if there's a new release you're like, girl, I gotta know about it, because we are back and we are doing our thing with foundations because we love a good foundation review. Yes, we do, girl. So let me know down below if you have any thoughts, or again, if you love this video, anything, if it was helpful, if you just want to say hi, if your dog wants to say hi, I don't care. Comment down below. Let me know what's going on in your lives. I love reading your comments. And also do not forget, if you have not yet checked me out on Instagram and Twitter, they are both linked down in the description box. You guys, I am on Instagram so much. Like I'm in the stories, I'm redecorating, I'm doing all kinds of crazy stuff over there. I post pictures of me, makeup, no makeup, dogs, cats, like life, daily world things and outfits, all of that. Those are all on Instagram. Twitter, I've been posting a lot of like little cute things, little pictures, or I'll like tweet out to people. That's a really good way to kind of keep in touch with the outside world, I think. Like there's just a lot of fun. If you have to pick one, pick Instagram. But you guys, it is seriously like Instagram. I love it so much. So definitely check me out there if you have not yet. And also be sure to subscribe because I put up new videos Monday through Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 5 videos a week. And it is seriously one of the funnest things that I do in my life. So definitely subscribe if you haven't. There's so much makeup and so much fun. And yeah, I love it. So anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Please do not forget to have a great day, night, weekend, whatever it is when you're watching this. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. All right, wipe that crap off. Oh, hello, Hulk. How are you today, sir? Looking good and angry. Yes, sir. We're going to get you covered. We're going to layer you up, girl. Why does my foundation still look this good? Like, why? What sorcery is going on? What do you know that I don't know? Sorceress? Guys, I'm loving the mixture of that the Shark tape shape. Damn it, every time. And speaking of loving me, wait, what? Who said anything about loving you? Let's go one. Oh my God, I missed it and hit my fingers. You guys, I just direct miss. Paige. Oh, and then I got it all over the rest of my vanity. Cool. I'm glad that this worked out so far. Welcome to my channel. Hot Mess Express coming through. Toot toot beep beep.